Yes, welcome back to Football Heritage TV. Sorry, long day today, lots going on, but I'm here with Billy T because when Billy's about, it normally means things aren't going very well at Spurs. Here he is, Billy. Other than football, how you doing? You good? You well?
Yeah, not bad, mate. Not bad. Yeah, I am like the harbinger of doom for Spurs, aren't I? If I'm on a podcast, something's gone wrong somewhere. But you know what? Yesterday reminded me that football can be joyous sometimes, mate. Finally had a bit of joy this weekend, didn't we? With sadly Tottenham weren't involved in that game, but it was nice to have something to smile about for once. That's how sad our lives are at the moment, isn't it? We have to rely on other people to make us smile.
Yeah, it is bad. It is bad. I mean, look, I've only got you for about half an hour, so we're trying cram in as much as possible. But look, listen, we were talking a little bit backstage, and a few people have been sending me some data and stats. I've got a stat, and then I know you've got one as well, which I think might make some people sit up and actually realise, hang on, this has been getting worse and worse for years and years. I know we all want to blame just Ange or just Frank or just Lang, but when we actually look, it's bad. And I'll start with my stat, Billy, and then you can trump me with your stat. I mean, 61 Premier League games since the beginning of last season. 61. Tottenham have lost 31 of those. So we've lost more than half of the games. We've drawn 12 and we've won 18. So if anyone wants to get some kind of idea as to how bad Spurs have been over 2 seasons, there's my stat. Now, your stat goes over 3 years, doesn't it, Billy? Can you tell us what it is?
It does, mate. So this is going even longer. And Conte ran a watershed moment for Tottenham that I'm sure we all remember against Southampton after drawing a 3-3, I think that game maybe. Conte came out and had a very impassioned rant. Since that game, Spurs have fewer points than Fulham, Brentford, Palace, Brighton and Bournemouth in a 3-year period there almost. Fewer points than Fulham, Brentford, Palace, Brighton and Bournemouth. So what does that tell you, Savva? Are we just a mid-table team now, or what? Or even below mid-table?
Yes, we are. And the funny thing is, Billy, when I've tried to say to people, I keep getting told, oh, but we're only playing Palace today, but we're only playing Brentford or Fulham. These clubs have more points than us for 3 years. What? Like, look, we talked a little bit backstage about, obviously, you know, Kane and Son going as kind of shown us where we are. But because I've only got you for the next 20 minutes or 25 minutes or so, look, Billy, I think what people are getting really frustrated about is, and I'm starting to not get frustrated now, Billy, and I think that's even worse. I've kind of hit a brick wall with Spurs where I have said to myself, this is what we do. These transfer windows, this is what we do, right? We are in an injury crisis. We are, depending on your definition or mine, relegation threatened. And we have no goal scorers. And you go into this window going, right, okay, the new version of Enoch, show us. Okay, lay it down, put it out there, put your balls on the chopping board. And Billy, this has not happened, has it?
It hasn't happened, mate. And we were talking on WhatsApp before the show earlier, and you know, we were saying that the squad is weaker now than it was at the beginning of January due to our injuries and the fact that we've sold a couple of bodies. We bought, and all we've done is replace Bentancur really in the squad. And we bought a 19-year-old left back. When they show you how much they believe in that guy so far by being strongly linked with another left back. So I don't think he's anywhere near the team. So we haven't, you know, we're weaker than we were at the beginning of January, particularly when you look at, obviously, I think there's been 5 long-term injuries in January of Kudus, Bentancur, Richarlison, Bergvall and Davis. So, you know, it's baffling to me that we're almost, what we've got, is it 6 days left of the window now? It's 26th of January. They've had 20. And what I was thinking last night, on the first day of January, we got heavily linked to Semenyo. Obviously, that got quickly rebuffed, and you know he chose Man City for obvious reasons. And the first thing he did, in fact, was reject us, wasn't it? But that was a £70 million transfer. Apparently, where's that money gone? Like what? You know, that what we were just, or was that just a complete PR stunt, do you think, just because we had no chance? But everyone was saying, oh, and it's the same with summer, right? There was like the 70 million for Savinho. Where has this money gone? And the 100 million that they invested in September or whatever it was. Like, are we just being taken for a ride again? I think that the evidence would suggest that yes, we are. And it's just, I'm absolutely baffled, mate, that we're almost coming to the end of January and our squad is weaker. This is a massive opportunity for the new ENIC, and I think they have showed them what they're about. And sadly, what they're about is the same thing that they've been about for the last 25 years.
Yeah, and that is the worry, isn't it? Because do you know what? I was one of those. I know people were really celebrating Levy going, and I get it because there was so much noise around wanting him to go. One of the key things I remember sitting on a stream, like the very day it happened. I was in Turkey on holiday, and it happened. So I jumped on the Spurs 5 from Turkey. My wife was really happy with me, joining the stream, and everyone's singing, "Oh, we've got our Tottenham back." And I said, "Listen, I'm going to judge this in transfer windows. I'm not judging this because Daniel Levy's left, and unfortunately." And I don't know about you, Bill, right? I don't know about you. I don't do all of this. Oh, but they've tried. Or, but there was a plan. Or, but no one's available. I don't do all that. This is your job.
Me neither. Yeah.
This is your job, right? You've had September, October, November, December to work out. You know where we're weak. You know what we needed from the summer because you failed to get in attackers in the summer. You're thinking from week one, where's those bids? Where's those? And all we've done, you're right. We have gone into this window, and so far it looks like the only thing they've been able to execute, forget Gallagher, because Gallagher is literally, I don't believe he would be here if Bentancur had stayed fit.
They weren't in October thinking we need to sign Conor Gallagher in January. There's no way.
Right, absolutely. So all they've been able to execute from their transfer plan, I use that word loosely, is a 19-year-old left back who we took about 3 weeks to get over from Brazil. This is simply at the point now where I go, not like, look at the title of my show. Nothing matters. And Billy, I've said it for ages, right? I've said it for ages. Everyone constantly wants to just talk about one. I'm guilty of it. You've been guilty of it, I'm sure. People are guilty of it. We want to blame. Oh, it's all Lang. Oh, it's all Paratici. It's all Ange. It's all Jose. It's all Frank. It's all the whole thing. What does it matter, Bill? What are we as fans actually arguing about these days? What's the point?
And I think what we have to be seriously worried about is that this isn't just like a blip anymore. Like, I think for me, the worry is I always think back to the Pochettino era, and it feels like yesterday that we were in a top 4 race every season and challenging for the title, in title races and getting into the final of the Champions League. That was 10 years ago. The Dele Alli goal I saw a stat, that was 10 years ago now. Like, that's a considerable distance away, and it's no longer the norm. It's every single year it's decreased from that and declined from that. And now, if you look at those stats that we were talking about at the beginning, we're just facing the fact that we've regressed into being a mid-table team at the moment, possibly into a lower mid-table team in the last 2 seasons. And they don't really seem to have any idea of or any even care about that. Like, I think my suspicion is the club are too arrogant to think that we could go down, we could be facing a relegation battle. But I just think, I saw we've got 15 games left of the season. In our last 15 games, we've had 2 Premier League wins. If we continue that for the next 15 games, we're in big, big trouble. And when you see that West Ham have got 2 wins on the bounce, and they're the only team in the Premier League with that, and Man United, there's only 2 teams that have won 2 consecutive games. Nottingham Forest have won and then drawn at Arsenal, and they're about to sign Mateta after already buying a couple of players. We're just in standstill. Like, what are we doing? Like, it's like it's like these guys are not waking up to the reality that we are in big, big trouble unless they do something.
And do you know what? As I said to you, I watched your show last night, and I'll blow some smoke up your ass. I thought it was a really good show. But I was also screaming at my phone, not literally, but in my head, I'm screaming at my phone going, hang on, Paul O'Keefe's on. I want rumours. I want names. I want stories. He's going, yeah, nothing's happening. And you're like, but we need goals, Paul.
Yeah, it was an amazing show. It's on, and I'm thinking, right, we've got Paul O'Keefe. We're going to get 10 names by the end of it that people are going to go, oh my God, Tottenham linked with this person. And then Paul, bless him, because he's facing the reality. nah, nothing's really happening. It's like, oh, for God's sake, it's unbelievable, isn't it?
Nothing.
And the only thing we could really talk about is managers, which is, but that's not addressing the immediate problem that our squad is nowhere near the level it needs to be to even possibly even survive.
But this is the point, right, Billy? Like, I think what a lot of the stick I get is people want me to just say Frank out. Frank's going to go. I'm of no doubt. I don't need to sit here and say it. Frank will be gone, right? Because it is the easy thing to do. And the plaster is easier than surgery, right? Do you know what I mean? Right? If you run in and go, oh, Savva, look, my bone's sticking out of my arm. I've fallen over. It's easy for me to wrap it in a bandage rather than going, hang on, shit, let's get you down the hospital and get you some surgery. And that's what Spurs do. And I've got no problem. I can say this till the cows come home. I've got no problem with Frank going. I've got no problem with whoever the next manager is. The stark reality of this, though, Billy, is whoever comes in, this has now been 3 years of you, as you said, this is 3 whole years of less points. Look, every time we play a Brentford, I get people going, Brentford, they're rubbish. We should be beating them. We should be beating Brighton. These football clubs we were there, they were there, right? And over the years, it's gone like that. It's gone like that. And I wonder, is it just our name now that we're bigger than these clubs? Like, obviously, we're bigger than them, Billy, in terms of history, stadium fight, success. But as an actual football team, these clubs have been run really well, and we haven't.
And I think, anyone that's sort of working in any kind of stats field will tell you 3 years is a long period of time. That's enough time to get like a proper read on a situation. And our situation is that we're declining. Like it's not like a small sample size where we're 3 games into a season and Brentford are above us. So how can Brentford? This is the 3-year period. Like that's not a trend. That's a time period.
Right.
We're in trouble.
There's a difference, right, between when people say, "Oh, we're in bad form." No.
Bad that's not form anymore. Yeah.
Yeah. That's not bad form. That's the norm, isn't it? That's the norm. And the thing is, I've been trying to say this for a long time to people, right? And this isn't about, oh my God, I know. I've been trying to say to people, we can have the manager conversations. That's fine. We can have the manager conversations. But this is now what we are. We have become a team that Palace, Bournemouth, Brighton, Brentford, and Fulham were the 5, right? They're not worried about us. These clubs aren't, they're worried about playing Arsenal. They're worried about City. They're worried about Villa, right? And in that time, since that time when we finished 4th, you think who's overtaken us now? Man United have overtaken us. Newcastle and Villa. So there's 3 of the bigger boys, if you know what I mean. Now, not just those 3. Now you got the 5 we just mentioned. Right? It's a true worry, Bill. And I don't know. I don't know that just changing the manager is solving this. I'm genuinely concerned about the football club. Really concerned.
My worry is are the people that are making these decisions and the Lewis family and Vinay, do they share these concerns, or are they just sort of kidding themselves that Tottenham are Tottenham, they'll sort themselves out because we're a big team, we're in the Champions League, we spend all this money on what is essentially a bang average squad, we're too big to fail, but the reality is, our reality is that we're facing some serious problems. And I think when you compile the fact that 1, our squad is not good enough in the first place, and 2, we are massively hit with long-term injuries, look at the next 4 games: Man City, Newcastle, Arsenal, Man United. Would anybody surprise? What's the best that we can hope for there? Maybe 3 points, 5 points at the very most, if we play our very best. It's just, come the end of February, we could be looking. I know, we're obviously 8 points clear at the moment. That's a big gap for West Ham to make up. And I'm at that desperate situation where I've been looking at West Ham fixtures, and luckily they've got some hard games coming up as well. But I think this club is sleepwalking towards a seriously disaster.
Sure, I completely agree with you, and I think that's what's more frustrating. And for the last 5 minutes before you go, we got more than 5 now. But when we get to the last 5, we're going to talk about some action that fans can take. But the worrying thing is, Billy, as we said, if we take this back to the transfer window, I don't expect Spurs to compete with Arsenal, City, Liverpool players. It's why when people were going, I reckon we get Semenyo. And I'm going, no. And they're going, have more ambition. It's not about me having ambition. Those players have more ambition than to come to Tottenham. But what I do expect is that Lang, Paratici, and their entire scouting network have spent September, October, November, and December scouting the world of football to find footballers.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear that, their 3 main targets aren't available. That's not good enough. Find other targets. Like, the worry we've got here, Billy, is we weren't able to get it done in, like, left winger, for example. We weren't able to get it done in the summer. Now we're hearing we're not able to get anyone in January. No other club operates like this. No other big club operates like this.
And we've already seen, with Andy Robertson in January, when you leave yourself with little time, great, go and sign Andy Robertson. And then suddenly Liverpool pick up an injury or whatever, or they can't get Tsimikas back. And now that deal's gone and there's no time to get, we just leave ourselves. There's so much to do, don't we, all the time by waiting and waiting and waiting. Where inversely, Man City, and who are, I'm not saying we are able to financially compete with Man City or anything like that, but a proper organised club, they've got their own problems in their neck of the woods, not ours. A couple of weeks into the window, a couple of days into the window, they go and sign Semenyo. They get a defender injured, and they immediately go and sign Mark Gahey. So, it's a difference in terms of competency, isn't it? I'm not saying for a second that we can compete with Man City financially, but what we can try and do is act competently. And you just sort of compare the two clubs with sort of chalk and cheese in terms of competence.
Yeah, it's utter madness, isn't it? And I think you're right. Like, for example, forget if we want Robertson. Forget that for a second. But Spurs want Robertson, right? And again,
now we look stupid, don't we? Yeah.
Well, but this is going to be another signing. And by the way, I've got nothing against Robertson, right? But this is going to be another signing where we're going to make it because Ben Davies got injured for the rest of the season, and that's fine. If you are backfilling, that's fine as long as there is some proactive over here. So over here, backfill. Over here, add. And we did this all summer, by the way. Kudus is out for most of the season. So Kulu. So we buy Kudus.
Yeah.
Maddison's out for the entire season. We buy Simmons. Solanke's out for 6 months. We bring in Mawani as a panic. The only one we bought in, if you actually think about it, the only one we bought in that was adding to the squad was Paulinho, because we didn't have a DM. And we've done it again now.
And I know to keep mentioning Man City, but what they did, they are a complete mixture of being proactive and reactive, right? So they've got Semenyo in, that's a proactive signing because they need to improve their, they already have 4 wingers that would be probably all 4 of them would be our best player, but they think, right, we need more, we're going to go and sign Semenyo. And then Gvardiol gets injured and they immediately react and go and sign Gahey. So they do a mixture of both proactive and reactive, where we only tend to be reactive. Like we were saying before the show, weren't we? Like, there's no way that Langer and everyone was sat down in November, December thinking what Tottenham need to do is go and sign Gallagher and Robertson. Like, these are just reactions to 2 people being injured in January.
No. And by the way, this isn't anything against Gallagher. And I actually like Gallagher as a player.
I like both the signers, to be honest.
Yeah, I do. And I find it I find it absolutely madness how many people are posting on places like X and that and saying, look at the waste of money Gallagher. And you're like, hang on, he's played like 180 minutes of football. He's walked into a dreadful club right now. And that's where we're going to aim our in. And we keep doing this. The energy is being aimed at Mawani. The energy is being aimed at Gallagher. The energy is being aimed at Frank. These people have been here the shortest amount of time. Surely our energy needs to go. And I'll move on to this, Billy, to them up there. So what's going on this weekend? What's happening?
Yeah, so we are going to be protesting against the Man City game. And what we're trying to do is change tack slightly because, to be completely honest with you, we did protest against in the last Premier League home game we had, and great support from some loyal fans that were there. And but to be honest with you, if we're going to be meaningful, we need more numbers. We need bigger numbers than what turned up. And I think there's a couple of reasons why that might be. Firstly, we have to build up a following again. It's, last season it took a lot of sustained protest to build those kind of numbers. And for me, the bigger problem is what you've just been speaking about before, is that I think a lot of fans have given up, mate. I think a lot of fans have given up the fight, and I think that's something that has changed for Tottenham. We have to battle with. So we're going to change tack slightly with what we're doing this Sunday. So we haven't mentioned this anywhere online yet, and the details will be coming out tomorrow officially. But we are going to be protests in the stadium during the game at various points during the game. So this protest is for match-going fans. We're changing slightly from last season, last protesting outside the stadium. This time we want to do something in the stadium. And what we're sort of realizing that we need to do is sort of build up a loyal following of people that want to get involved. So if anyone wants to get involved, if you go on the Change for Tottenham Twitter, there's a WhatsApp group which you can join when we'll be publishing our plans. We're not going to make our plans public for obvious reasons because we are doing things inside the stadium, but we will be announcing some of the details tomorrow where people can get involved and how they can get involved. But this protest will be going on before the game, during the game, and after the game as well. And we will release some details of that tomorrow because we're just trying something different. So a couple of things I can reveal that obviously we'll already be doing. But, we'll be asking fans to boycott spending money inside the stadium. We'll be asking fans to chant ENIC out chants during the game and things like that, because I think we need to show that the owners that match-going fans have had enough of this now. And I think, we're almost the previous protest, we were thinking we need to inspire, you need to go and make signings and things like that. I think we have to go a step further now, and we need to get rid of these owners. We have to get them out, because I think, what we were just talking about there for the last 20 minutes, this is no longer a grace period where we can see, well, what they're going to do. And I think they've already shown themselves that under this management and under this ownership of Tottenham for the last 25 years, we are going nowhere. And in fact, we're not going nowhere. We're going downhill. So we need to act.
A worrying trend, yeah. And I'm going to be there on Sunday as well. And I think the worrying thing for me is there's so many that for years have put their head in the sand about ENIC. Now, obviously, there's people there's different levels. I've wanted ENIC out since 2007, but I've never been as like, for example, like Stell and Brian Daigle, who did their they lived it, they breathed it. Obviously, with your protest. But I think we're at the stage now where it doesn't matter what process anybody's been in. And do you know what I mean? I feel like it doesn't matter if anybody hasn't. Surely now we can all see, after years and years and years of neglect, that this is what we've sunk into.
Yeah.
This is the worst I've seen us, squad-wise, morale-wise, everything. And it's been going like that. As you said, the 3 years, this isn't a blip anymore, Billy. This isn't a blip.
No, this is a reality that we're facing.
This is the reality. And you know what? I think at some point, if we don't nip this in the bud as a football club, whether it's this year, we're going to go down if we do not sort this out. If we don't sort this out.
And I think, anyone, you can see it from the support. I don't think anyone has any faith in these owners anymore to be able to turn this around and do something about it, because, this was a great opportunity for them to react to the fact that we're in a relegation battle again for 2 seasons in a row. Yep. And they've sat on their hands. They've done nothing. And I think until, you were talking about earlier again, looking at our transfer, we were looking at previous transfer windows, and there's 25 years of evidence now. Like this is, a leopard does not change its spots. We are not going to ever change under these owners, and until they sell the football club, there's no hope for us, I think.
I think the big thing for me is that it was one of those. I think I said, not just me. There's loads of people that have said this, by the way, YouTubers, fans, whatever it was. Right, Levy's gone. Let's see. Just show us a January where we go, okay, this is different. Don't go and land that one player where you go, oh, we don't normally do that. But somebody messaged me and said this to me earlier today, and I thought this was spot on. And I think this shows the difference, Billy, between a club that must act and a club that doesn't need to, right? They said this window, my mate Ash said this, he said this window would be absolutely fine if this was a proper settled squad that were in the top 4 already, right? Yep. And you go, oh, Gallagher, Robertson, you're just adding some numbers to recover injuries. You go, yeah, great, right? This window would be okay if you're Arsenal with the squad that Arsenal have got. This window's fine. But we're currently scraping down the bottom with Forest and West Ham. We have no...
We're both signing players, by the way, and they're both signing players.
Both signing players. And by the way, I don't care how good I keep seeing Tell is, Odegaard is, Solanke. These are not goal scorers. These boys, whatever we think of them, Billy, I'm not saying they won't be good in the future. These boys don't keep you up, right? We need goals. We need forwards. We need goals. Said this in the summer. I'm saying it now. We need goals. And my worry is with 6 days left, Billy, can you see anything being pulled out of the hat? Or do you think we're going to get a link where we go, what? Like a Dan Zuma type link back in the day?
Well, I think, I think it'd be interesting to see if the Champions League finishing makes any difference, because I know one of the excuses that clubs don't want to let anyone leave, but I don't have much faith. I know Paul last night was talking about maybe, he mentioned Oscar Bob. He's obviously pretty much gone to Fulham today. I tweeted this earlier. I can't believe, to Ash's point there, I can't believe Lookman's available for 30 million. He's got goals. He's a goal scorer. That is immediately what we need. It's right there available, and we're not doing it. And the player. That's what you were saying before. Like, it's not like there's no players available. We could go and sign Lookman tomorrow, and he would improve us by an absolute tenfold in our attack, because he scores goals season on season on season. And they're not doing it. And then if you look, what's really concerning, Forest are about to go and sign Mateta. Palace are signing Strand Larsen. Like, the teams around us are acting, and we're standing still.
And that is a huge problem. Now, again, this isn't always about the caliber of the player, but what if Mateta goes to, if he goes to, where am I thinking of?
Forest, he might be going to.
Forest. Yeah. What if he goes to Forest, gets rejuvenated, gets 8 in 10, and Forest start going like that, right? What if that happens? What if West Ham's couple of new forward signings click?
Well, they look good against us, didn't they, as well, to be fair, yeah.
And that, Palace, by the way, Palace could get dragged into this, but Palace look like they're going to go after, it looks like it's going to be a merry-go-round. They're going to get Strand Larsen, right? Now, I don't want Strand Larsen. This isn't about Strand Larsen. What if Strand Larsen gets to Forest, gets to Palace, hits the ground running, right? Hits the ground running. These clubs will start winning games. We're going into these games. Let's be fair. Dominic Solanke is our best forward, and he has had one good season in the Premier League in his career. Let's be brutally honest about this. Telwan Odobert, I don't know if you saw this stat, and so I know you need to go in a second. Telwan Odobert, 66 Premier League appearances for Tottenham, 6 goals and 3 assists between them. Like, these players should not be first team. They won't keep you up. We're in trouble. Trouble.
Again, something we were talking about earlier, it wasn't so long ago. And the reason why our sort of base level was, barely finishing below 8th in the last 5, 6, 7 years is because we had Kane and Son. And now we're finally having the season where what happens when you lose 2 of the best goal scorers the Premier League's ever seen? Well, this is what happens if you don't replace them properly. And we haven't replaced either of them with anywhere near enough quality. Right. And we're finally seeing the fruits of what actually happens if you lose those 2 players and you don't replace them. Because when we had Kane or Son and both of them, the worst we could probably finish was like 8th, because Kane would always score 30 goals a season. Son would score 25. And if you score 55 goals from your forwards, you're probably going to be all right. You're not going to be below 10th. Now, we don't have either of those, and we haven't replaced them either. We've also lost, Kulusevski, Madison. And we're just not scoring, both of our centre-backs are our top scorers. None of our 4 players have got more than 4 goals other than the one that's injured. So it's crazy. It's crazy, mate.
It absolutely is. I mean, you just said that stat about since the Conte rant.
Yeah.
The season before was the season we finished 4th, right?
Yeah.
And that season is the season that Son and Kane between them got 73 GA. Now, I'm not a kid on X who's GA. But 73 GA between 2 footballers is massive, right? And you think since then, I think we had them both for the start of the next season. Then Kane goes, and you're like, okay, all right, you've still got Son. All right. Kane's been replaced by what? Richarlison and Solanke. Where are the goals? Like, where are I'm genuinely worried. And this was my big issue in the summer. This was my big issue, Billy, when I was getting called out left, right, and centre for saying it wasn't a great window. Again, look, I'll ask this. I know you need to go, so I'll ask you this. Are we staying up?
Well, the interesting thing is you mentioned that season before Conte when we finished 4th. the reason why we finished fourth that season is because on the deadline day we went and signed Bentancur and Kulusevski, and they gave us a massive boost in the last half of the season. And suddenly we go on a run and end up finishing. I think we were 11th going into that January transfer window or something like that in the Conte. And to make two big signings, and suddenly things start looking up again. You know, there is a world where we go out in January and sign some, just, you know, a Lookman or a Curtis Jones and Lookman, two signings like that or something like that, and suddenly we go in and fix it. I think the only thing saving us that West Ham have also got, I think in their next 3 games they've got City, Chelsea, and Liverpool in their next 5 or something like that. I think
we're not getting Europe, are we?
No. I think we're in real danger of finishing 17th again, which
do you know what?
Back-to-back 17th would be unforgivable for this football club.
I completely agree with you. Do you know what? Right, I don't think we will go down. Right, I don't think we will. Either. But we won't have Europe next year. And you know what? I actually think. I know that it's not good for finance. I actually think though that this club needs that. I think this club needs next year to get to a position where we go, right, we're playing once a week, right? We can wrap the same 11 players can wheel out each, because right now, if ever a club didn't need a Champions League run from a squad depth point of view, it is us. It's great. It's great for finance.
We need to concentrate on surviving, mate. And that's what, you know, we're going to be. Yeah. I don't think we'll go down, but I think we could finish 16th or 17th again.
Okay. Look, just before I let you go, so Saturday, nothing outside the stadium. It's just inside the stadium.
Just inside the stadium this time, yeah.
Okay, cool. So if everybody gets over to, where can they find you? Where can everyone find you?
Twitter.com/change for Spurs. There's a link in there to a WhatsApp community where we'll be publishing all of our plans. We'll also be publishing the details on Twitter as well. So just Change for Spurs on Twitter. And again, massive thank you for having us on, man. It's always good to see you, and look forward to seeing you at the weekend.
Yeah, I'll see you then, Billy. Thanks very much, man. I really appreciate that. Take care.
Thank you, mate.
Guys, look, unfortunately, as I said, listen, when I was thinking this morning, I was like, what show am I going to do? And apologies. I've had a really long, bad day. So just managing to get around to it now. But I said to my thumbnail guy, just give me a thumbnail, just saying like nothing matters. Spurs have no ambition. And I know I get called out. I'll just back the team, this isn't about backing the team or backing the club. Do you know what's worse? What's worse is the owners don't back the team or the club. But you know when they, when it's always, the fans. Well, hang on. What about the owners are the ones not backing the club? As we said, for any of you that missed that stat earlier, this is a truly worrying stat. That it's been 3 years since Conte's rant, right? Just under 3 years since Conte's rant. And since that rant, Tottenham Hotspur, with Frank, with Ange, with Stellini and Mason, those three years has seen us get less points than Brighton, Brentford, Bournemouth, Fulham, and Palace. Now, when you see me arguing with other YouTubers and people are saying this squad is better than we're seeing, this squad is capable of more, that 3 years is showing you it absolutely isn't. Let that sink in. I'm sure somebody in a second will come back into the chat and go, but I don't think we can say but anymore. 3 years. Palace, Bournemouth, Brentford, Brighton, Fulham all have more points than us since that Conte rant. That's not a lie. That's not a lie. This is why when people are going, we should be 5th. Well, should we? We should be doing better than Newcastle and Villa. Why? We should be battering Palace and Wolves. Why? We're not that team anymore. We're not that team. We've not been that team for years. We've not been that team for years. So when we look back at the Conte rant, look, I think brilliant what he said. I think the way he did it was completely wrong, but that's not the point. What he said was right. since that time, we've been an absolute mess. Let's be fair, we've been a mess for a long time before that, but he papered over it with that brilliant second half of the season where we managed to get fourth. But has it made? I still don't think people are truly witnessing how bad this squad is. And I'm hoping now, seeing some of that data, people can actually go, oh, yeah, Savva's not just being negative. Now, last year, my problem with Ange wasn't that we weren't top 4 or 5 or anything. I actually predicted 6th. My frustration was that we lost 22 league games, right? My frustration was how wide open we were. Now, we can all be frustrated with Frank for different reasons this year, right? We can all be frustrated with Conte. We can all be frustrated with Stellini and Mason and Lang and Paratici. But the problem is, no matter who we want to put our individual blame upon, whoever we want to focus on, it doesn't change how bad we are. It doesn't change it. And that's why I found it funny lately everyone can go, but with Ange, but with Conte, but with Jose, but with Poch, but with this man, but with that man. But what does any of it truly matter? But again, you say, I don't think our squad is as bad as Sunderland's. It's not about Sunderland. It's about over a period of time, these players have shown they lose loads of games. These players have shown they don't have the fight. These players have shown time and time and time again that it's not as good as we think. It's not about being better than Sunderland. Sunderland are having a good year for a team that came up. It's not about Sunderland. That's the sort of thing we say to make ourselves feel better. Oh, yeah, we should be beating Sunderland. Sure. But the problem is, when you look at that 3-year period, we're just losing and losing and losing and losing and losing and losing. So you have to ask yourself. We've lost 31 of the last 61 league games. 31 of 61 league games. That's over 2 managers. That's not one. That doesn't matter whether you didn't like Frank or you didn't like Ange. That's over 2 managers. 38 games for the manager last season. 23 we've had this season. So maybe as a fan base, instead of we all point score, instead of we all go, you said this, you wanted this, maybe we start waking up and realizing this has been going on for 3 years under 4 different managers, if you will. And we can keep blaming every manager all we want. This squad, what has it actually got about it that excites you? What has it actually got about it that you go, wow, I can't believe those players are losing games? And this is the thing, as I've said many times before, many opposition fans think like that about Tottenham's squad. Many Spurs fans, we don't want to believe the truth. We don't want to believe the truth. We all know Frank's going to go. We all know he's going to get sacked. This isn't about Frank. He's going to get the sack. Managers get the sack when they don't win games. Of that, there is no doubt the manager's going to get the sack. It's bigger than that. It's bigger than that. And the last few years have shown you that. But David, you've always thought I'm negative because what I say is factually true, but hard to hear. Do you know what I mean? Like as I said, when you add all this up, the data hasn't lied for years and years and years. It's not lied. Now, we can all dislike managers, it doesn't matter. But the overall data at the football club is a shambles, isn't it? It's an utter shambles. We had that good period under Conte. But the reality the harsh, sad reality of where Tottenham Hotspur Football Club are right now is that it's a mess. And we can have all these people that pretend, look what Carrick's done at United. 2 games. Bigger picture, people, bigger picture. Because all of those people praising Michael Carrick, if Spurs had gone and got Michael Carrick to do the Spurs job, everyone would moan that he's not a winner and has never managed a Premier League team. They would have said, he got sacked from Middlesbrough. So, bigger picture. Again, I know we live in this vacuum where the bigger picture is always ignored. The bigger picture is always ignored. And at some stage, we're going to all have to come together and realize that. Right? And that's why I said, I've got to the stage as a Spurs fan where I'm just like, none of this matters. Like people ask me every day, do you want to come on this show? Do you want to come on this debate show? Do you want to come on this panel? What's the point? Like, genuinely, what is the point? I'm going to go on a panel show with Arsenal fans, Liverpool fans, Chelsea fans. What can you say? Where's the defense for this football club anymore? What am I going to do? Go on panel shows with 5 Spurs fans? What are we all going to talk about? Right, who should be the next manager so that in a year's time we can do this again? It's I get it. We want the quick wins, don't we? In life, all of us as humans, we all want the quick wins. Yeah, I get it. We want the quick wins. The quick win is we ate Frank, he's going to go. We know he's going to go. As I said, I'm not saying he should stay. He's going to go. But what happens if Frank goes and there is no new manager bounce? Are we then going to look and go, hang on, this squad is shit? Or are we going to pretend that whoever the interim manager is, we're going to blame that person as well? And this, absolutely, Phil, absolutely. United are playing with people like Bruno Fernandes and Buemo and Cunha, right? We don't have that. We don't have that at all. We're playing with Solanke, Tells, Odegaard, Mawat. Levels. Just levels. Absolute levels. And listen, we should not be looking at a Man United and going, well, they've done this. What we need to be asking is the bigger question. How does this ever fundamentally change with the macro versus the micro, as my man Lubo says? People want to go onto YouTube channels. They want to debate Tell or Odegaard to start a game. When did we become that football club? The moment we're arguing that shows you how far we have fallen in the last 3, 5, 10 years. It shows you how far we have fallen. We should not be having debates about Solanke versus Richarlison. We should not be having those debates. At what? The bloke can't score a goal to save his life. At what? And this is what we do. See what I mean, people? This is where we're at. In 2 seasons at Tottenham Hotspur, Odegaard has managed 1 Premier League goal. This is what I am told is good about Tottenham. I'm not knocking. By the way, this isn't on Odegaard. This is many of them. Because what fans like Tom Jackson don't want to do is actually acknowledge, look how far these players have fallen from what we're used to. Now, were we spoiled with Kane and Son? Yes. Did we know that would come to an end? Yes. Did we do anything about it? No. You can't go from Son and Kane to Solanke and Odegaard. You just can't. Just can't. And that's where we're at. We're arguing the little things now because it's so bad up here, we're arguing all the little things down here. Right? If you keep chipping away at your squad year after year after year, this is what happens. Again, doesn't mean the manager shouldn't go. Doesn't mean Lang shouldn't go. And if you keep chipping away at your football team, right? This is what happens. Unfortunately, this is what happens. We haven't signed goal scorers. We have not signed goal scorers for years. Who was the last goal scorer we signed? Who was the last goal scorer midfielder? Maybe Maddison. This is Spurs. We're Tottenham Hotspur. We're acting in transfer markets. We're acting like a club that has just been promoted. And again, we had no one at the top that's implemented a plan. Nobody's implemented a plan. No one can agree on what manager. No one can agree on the players. No one can agree on directors of football. But you're not allowed to say this, apparently, because all people want to talk about now is Thomas Frank. It's fine. That's fine. Let's see. Because I'm just asking, for those that are adamant that he has to go and he is the one problem, what if he goes and then we lose the next 4 or 5 after he goes? What will that show us? What will that show us? And what has to happen for us to all get on the same page with this? What has to happen? We need cohesion. We need planning. I had a good chat with Lubo on the phone earlier. Because Tom Jackson, last season, he had Son, Maddison, Kulu. Those boys could score and assist, mate. We don't have that now. Right now, if we had Son, Kulu, and Maddison, I would be saying the same thing I said about Ange. But again, all it is talking about Ange. Bigger picture. Bigger picture, people. And this is the point, Ash. We're at the stage where we are championing players that should never have been bought by this football club in the first place because we have forgotten. I truly believe this. I don't know. I don't know if anyone's going to agree with me here. I truly believe that as a fan base, we've almost forgotten what a really good footballer looks like because we hardly ever buy them. I truly believe we scrap around to find reasons why players that aren't good enough are good enough. Look at that. Oh, but he's got 2 assists in his last 2 games. Right? I'm not talking about 2 games. I'm talking about evidence over a number of years. Solanke. Is Solanke the answer? Was he ever the answer? But Tom, it doesn't even up if you can't score goals. If you don't have goal scorers, why do most teams that go down? Don't have goal scorers. Got to have goal scorers. You've got to have goal scorers. Got to. It's just embarrassing. We get it. You love Ange. We get it. Cool. Get it out. Anyone who loves Ange, get it off your chest. Get it off your chest. Go on. It's fine. You're right. Whoever said that, there you go, Rick. It starts with we replaced Lloris with a really, I'm going to be kind and call him an average keeper. I don't even even think he's average. If I'm getting to the stage where I look at him and go, this is bad. I say he's average, and I think I'm being kind. But again, what would we rather do? What we would rather do is go, he's better than Raya. No, he's not. No, no, he's not in any way, shape, or form. But that's what we do. We want to make ourselves feel better, because if you tell the truth, people don't like it. We're in big trouble. We've been going in big trouble for years. And again, who can change this? Them lot up there. Them lot up there can change this. Enoch can change this. Everything sits with them. Rip out whatever structure you think there is and implement one with a proper footballing guy, a Ralph Rangnick, yeah, a Camp. I don't care. Move heaven and earth. Give them the keys to the castle. Until they do that, as I've said, nothing matters. Nothing matters. That's why I don't care. Sack the manager. Sack all these players. I genuinely don't care right now. Sack whoever you want. Whoever you want. We are after the quick feel-good factor. Frank will go. There'll be this good, yes, he's gone. What if nothing changes on the pitch like it hasn't for 3 years? What if nothing changes on the pitch? Who do we go after? After that, who do we go after? Who do you go after? And as I've said, I've said this for so long now about Frank. You either back him or you sack him. Right now, they're not doing either. He's left to sit there, right? Clearly, the team, it's bigger than Frank. The team needs reinforcements. I'll tell you what, Andy, imagine Spurs went and got both of those two right now. And you went, right, Solanke through the middle, Solis one side, Lookman the other, go. It looks very different. It looks very different, doesn't it? But we can't even do Lookman and Solis. We can't seem to do anyone. We can't or won't or don't. No plan. You know, I'm speaking to people who go, oh, to be fair to them, they might have had a plan, really. When? I've never seen it. And this is why I'm calm about it now, guys. I used to be all very stressed, calm about it. Nothing matters. We're always discussing the small things that don't change the club, aren't we? We're sitting talking about, will Van der Ven sign for Liverpool? Will he? What would you do if you were Van der Ven? Now, obviously, Spurs are going to have to want to sell him and can ask for big bucks. But if you're Van der Ven, you are turning around and going, get me out of this. And this doesn't stop with Van der Ven. We've seen it down the years. Kane, Carrick, Bale, Modric, Sheringham, Keane. We've seen it time and time and time again. We see it time and time and time again. We are what we are, right? We are what we are. And I know, listen, I want to come on to a show and be positive. I want to see something the club does where I go, fair play to them. I'll say this as I always do. Hopefully, in the next 6 days, Spurs do that. But this was the window for them to show us just something, a glimpse. Show us a glimpse. I'm not expecting Spurs to sign 4 first-team starters in January, but show us a glimpse. Everyone knows the issue. Everyone knows the issue. We just won't say it. Collectively, we won't say it. I've seen people posting things today saying, oh, well, Conte, look how great he did with these players. And you're like, yeah, but he also had 2 world-class forwards, right? Whatever you want to call, I don't care what terminology you want to use. But we ain't got that now. We're at the stage where I used to be so angry about Spurs. I'm at the stage now where it's like, this is what we are. This is what we have become. For 3 years, less points than 5 very small clubs compared to us. But every match day rolls up and we go, it's only Bournemouth today. What, the Bournemouth that have got more points than us for 3 years? It's only Palace. The Palace that have got more 3 points than us more points than us in the last 3 years. I feel like Simon Hill in the chat says, I feel numb. I feel numb to it. I feel numb that we go online, whether it's on YouTube or on X or Reddit or Facebook, whatever platform each individual uses, and we all discuss what's wrong every year, and nothing's changed. Nothing. And let me tell you something, right? So you'll notice in preparation for when my channel stops, I have removed all my posts. I've decluttered the posts and I've removed all my shorts, right? And because if I do sell it or give it to somebody else, they're going to need their own path. Anyway, what I noticed was when I went through yesterday, it took me hours. I looked at every single summer window that I had done on this channel for the last 3-4 years. I looked at every January window that I'd done for the last 3 or 4 years. And you know, the theme of every single video during the transfer windows is exactly the same theme as now. Come on, Spurs. Chop Spurs. TikTok Spurs. This is underwhelming, Spurs. What's the plan, Spurs? What's the identity, Spurs? Are you going to back the manager, Spurs? Nothing's changed. And that's just since I've been doing this, YouTube. Now go back 20 odd years before that, since Enoch came in. Nothing's changed. Nothing has changed at this football club. From a football point of view, nothing has changed. We get lucky with some signings, but nothing has changed. And I know people don't want to hear this. I know they don't want to hear this. But tell me, if anyone can tell me in the chat anything I've said tonight that isn't fact. And again, remove the emotion of the players you like and don't like, the managers you like and don't like, the directors of football you like and don't like. Tell me what I've said tonight that is not true about Tottenham Hotspur. And I don't think anyone's going to be able to. Doesn't matter which manager you like. Does it? Really? Doesn't matter. As I said, sack him. Sack Frank tonight. Don't care. Sack him. Bring in the next victim. Bring in the next victim. Sack Lang. Cool. Who are you bringing in? Nothing's changed. Nothing's changed. Nothing's changed. And yet, we're in denial. As a collective, we're in denial about how bad it's been going for years. No one wanted to open their eyes. We haven't wanted to open our eyes. And it's only now that 17th last year, talk of relegation this year, that people are starting to go, ooh, hang on, maybe it's not as good as we've all thought. Maybe these players aren't as good as we all thought. For years, people have gaslit Porro, Bentancur, Adogi, Vicario, Solanke, Richarlison. I'm not even mentioning the kids. It's not their fault. But for years, all I've heard is these players, they're much better than what we're seeing. They're much based on what? Based on what? Oh, but Porro goes to play for Spain, right? So what? We are always talking about the men in suits, aren't we? How sad is that? How sad that we have become a fan base that we talk more about men in suits than we actually do with footballers. Yes, Tom. Most of everybody's squad in the Premier League are internationals. Doesn't mean anything now, does it? Doesn't really mean anything. We talk about men in suits. We talk about not just the men in suits. We've had female directors. We talk about them. We talk about Donna Cullen. Like what? We watch these guys. I think this absolutely is nail on head. It is. It's stunning. Our players are rated. We watch them every week for years, do nothing. And they are praised and praised. Oh, Romero's great. Oh, this is great. You know, Romero will get the praise. I thought Romero was awful at the back on Saturday. Now he'll get the praise because he scored the goal. I thought he was awful at the back. But you're not allowed to say it. You're not allowed to say it. Because he won a World Cup. What you're not allowed to say it, are you? If you say it, all people say is there are bigger problems. Didn't say there wasn't, but he wasn't good. I don't think he's been good a lot of this season, Christian Romero. It's not about saying, oh, sell him, sell him. I'm just saying, you're not allowed to say it with some of these players, are you? You're not allowed to say it. Udogie, every time Udogie is injured, we go, oh my God, but if Udogie was playing, and then when he is playing, we don't see anything from him. I genuinely, nothing matters, does it? Nothing matters. We can have all the children that want to come into YouTube channels and they just want to talk about point scoring and mud and, you know, you've been cooked. I don't give a shit about that. I give a shit about my football club. What are they doing? I don't care about that. I didn't join YouTube to talk about cooking and mud, all this childish shit. But there are just so many examples in the last three. I mean, I'm just using that as a 3-year period. Let's be fair, it's been a lot longer than that. I'm just using that last 3 years. When I was told that earlier, that stat about Brentford, Brighton, Fulham, Bournemouth, and Palace all getting more points than us for 3 years, that is the bit when you look and go, hang on. Something ain't right, bigger picture here. But people don't want to hear it because we all need to latch on. We all need a villain. Why can't there be many villains? Why can't it be I don't like Ange and Frank and Enoch and Lang? Why we have to pick a villain? Don't we? A villain. You're the reason we're in this mess. Just Levy was the villain, right? Now, Levy did a lot wrong. But he's not just the villain, is he? Enoch, the villain. If this was a movie, you know, and you're waiting for the big fight scene at the end between the hero and the villain, Enoch are the big villain, aren't they? That you only see at the end of the movie. And again, all I see on like Savva saying is to protect Frank. Why do I need to protect Frank? From what? Best thing Thomas Frank can do, get yourself out of here, mate. Get yourself a 12, 10 million payoff, whatever. I don't know what it is. I don't really care. Can't get yourself a massive payout. Why do I have to? I'm protecting Frank. Don't care. As I've said before, I think the grown-ups can see Frank is a moment in Spurs history. It's a moment in the history. but this bigger picture. This. Enoch are the mind flayer. Yes. Enoch. You notice they can kill. Yes, let's carry on this analogy. You can get rid of all the demogorgons you want along the way, but who did you have to get? The mind flayer. And again, as I said, look, I'm not angry. You can see I'm calm. I'm not angry about it. Calm. Not angry. I'm not angry about it. Just nothing matters. Every day we wake up and we go, oh my God, no, Spurs aren't talking to anyone. We all know when a link comes out, it will be really underwhelming. You all know it. We all know it. But what's easier to do is if Enoch are going to play a blinder, because Enoch are they're going to sack Frank. Rightly so, wrongly so, doesn't matter. They're going to sack Frank. And then we're all going to be doing this again in a year's time. And what will they do then? They'll go and bring in someone like Pochettino and cover over everything that's shit. Right, mate? Wouldn't you? In the summer, wouldn't you move heaven and earth to get Poch if you were, hear me out, forget what I want or you want, if you were Enoch, wouldn't you move heaven and earth, right, to get Poch back? You would. And why would you? Because it covers over every crack that they've created. It covers over everything because they'll go and get Poch, and then suddenly the protests stop. Suddenly the noise stops because it's Poch, right? They're not silly. These people aren't silly, but the fan base will be. The fan base will be. We will just let them get away with it again. And then when we realize that Poch can't work miracles, right? Or that it doesn't strike twice, we'll start to realize. As I said, my energy now for whoever is manager coming in is going to be good luck, welcome to the club, and good luck. Good luck. That's all it is. I don't care. Go and get who you want. I don't care. Go and get Brendan Rodgers. Don't care. I genuinely don't care. I have shown for years and years and years that there are micro problems and there are macro problems. As I said, Frank will go. I think we all know he's going to go sooner rather than later. And I think what will happen is this board will probably sack him the moment that window shuts. Right? Convenient. No transfer window. You see, we didn't buy players because we weren't sure what we were going to do with Frank. Okay. If you weren't sure what you were going to do, you should have sacked him and given the new manager some money in the transfer window. And again, so I hope you've all understood what I've said there about the Poch thing. I don't care if Poch comes back. Right? I don't care if Poch comes back. I think Poch did really well. But what we saw is when Poch's team started being ripped up, look how he struggled. Can you bear with me 1 second, please? Bear with me 1 minute. Sorry, guys. Sorry about that. Sorry. So if you hear what I'm saying, I know. To be fair, we haven't got any trolls in tonight, which is lovely. It's really nice. We haven't got any trolls in, and I think a lot of you can see what I'm saying. I don't want to get Poch back, and I'll tell you why I don't want Poch back. It's nostalgic. Again, it would show that as a club we've got no forward thinking, we've got no planning. So getting Poch back for me is the easy thing to do to please the crowd, not the difficult thing of actually putting a plan in place, right? Because the chances that Poch is going to recreate what he did before, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I haven't got anything against Poch, by the way. I haven't got anything against Poch. If he comes back, you know what? Welcome. Good luck. That's where I'm going to be at now with every manager. Welcome and good luck. Welcome to the madhouse where you are not going to be given what you need. And then we're all going to blame you. And I'm as guilty as all of you. We're all guilty of this. Every single one of us is guilty. Every single one of us is guilty of this. This isn't about being superior to anyone or rights and wrongs. We're all guilty of it. But I've hit a brick wall with it where I just can't keep doing it. I can't keep doing it. Poch did really well for Spurs. We know. But we are run so badly that is what we crave, the past. We are run so badly that instead of demanding that we build for the future, we're demanding we go back to the past. And as I said, if he comes in, good luck. Whoever comes in next, you're hearing me say it out of my mouth. I don't care. I genuinely don't care who manages this football club right now. I don't. Bring in Ryan Mason. Bring in Brendan Rodgers. Bring in whoever you want, and I will say good luck. Welcome to the club. Because what does it matter when we have transfer windows of neglect every single time a transfer window comes around? What does it matter? What is it that we're actually expecting to achieve? I'm going to call somebody out. Is it Jack Pitt-Brooke who works for The Athletic? Is it? Jack Pitt, was it The Athletic he works for? Whoever. He put this article out saying Frank has failed to compete on all four fronts. He has failed. And you know when you think, sorry, who on earth looked at this squad and said, this is going to compete on all four fronts? What? Like, that's journalists. It's meant to be the Spurs journal. Who on earth is looking at this squad with these wingers that don't score goals, these forwards who don't score goals, no ball playing midfielder, no real fullbacks at the club, Vicario as your goalkeeper, and he's writing articles about, well, Frank should have challenged on all four fronts because that's what the board set. What? What are we doing here? No, I've got nothing against him as a writer, but I saw that and I was like, what? That's like saying Marco Silva has failed because Fulham aren't fighting on all four fronts. What are we doing? Crystal Palace this year, why aren't you fighting on all four fronts? What are we doing here? Surely we are all of an age and a maturity where we can look at the squad and go, yeah, we know what it is and what it isn't. You know, I'm seeing people now say things like, let's get Kieran McKenna. He knows the club. What? Cool. I mean, cool. Go get him. But what? 1 minute I hear we need winners. Next minute we need Carrick or McKenna. I'm just so confused. What are the club trying to do? What do the fans want to be? I don't know the answer anymore. And maybe for all the people that are so desperate for Frank to go, I'm not saying he won't go. But those that are so desperate, you ever thought that maybe the thing keeping at this club is because the club have run it so badly and not backed him that they know it's a mess? Have we ever thought about that? I don't know. Have we? I just don't know that. I just don't know a lot of people have got that capacity to think past this. I don't think we've got the capacity to look beyond one issue and look at, a kind of plethora of issues. Right now in this transfer window, we should be talking about signings. Signings. We can have the manager conversation later, signings. And I look back last year, even all the time when I was Ange out through January, all my videos were saying, where's the signings? Doesn't matter that I don't rate it. Where's the signings to help him? Where's the signings? And then we signed what? Danso, didn't we? We were like 2 days to go. I'm asking again now. Where's the signings? Forget the manager. Where's the signings? And sorry if this has felt like an hour and 15 of meh, but why aren't there enough people online demanding signings? Why aren't they talking about that enough? Because the wool's been pulled over our eyes again. Yeah. Bournemouth out there making signings. Palace trying to strengthen. Forest trying to strengthen. West Ham trying to strengthen. We just replaced an injured midfielder. And maybe this is true. Maybe they don't want to get rid of Frank because then they'll have no one to blame apart from the board. And this is the problem, right? I think if Spurs were a really well-run football club, by now Frank would have gone. Yeah. Frank would have gone by now if we were a really well-run club. If we could truly sit here and go, these players are really, really good and we're really low, then I think he would have gone ages ago. But the problem is we don't have a plan. We don't have a plan. We're not a well-run club. We're hearing noises that Paratici and Lang want different players. So the club don't know who to buy. I mean, don't know if that's true. But there's got to be something in it because, again, you're telling me from the whole world of football that we can't find better forwards than Tell, Odeber, Mawani, Solanke. You're telling me that that's the truth. Is anyone telling me? Seriously, look me in the eye. I know I can't, you could all see me and tell me that Spurs can't easily find much better. Easily find much better than these forwards we got on show. But again, we'll make excuses. Oh, the right one wasn't available. What? What do you mean the right one wasn't available? I'm at the stage where we could probably go and sign Coventry's forwards and they'd be better than ours. What are we doing here? Like, how are we at this stage? How am I at the stage where I'm watching Newcastle have better forwards on their bench than we've got on the pitch? How? How are we at that stage? How am I at a stage where I'm watching West Ham with Somerville and Bowen and going, both of those walk into our team over what we've got? How are we at that stage? Let that sink in. West Ham, bottom three, have a better forward line than Tottenham. Let that sink in. That is shockingly bad, isn't it? Max, I'm going to tell you my knowledge. That is Pierce, isn't it? Ollie Pierce. Yeah, hasn't he scored something like 150 goals in his last 150 games? Yeah, he's a goal scorer, that lad. Let's have a look. Yeah, no, it is. Ollie Pearce. Ollie Pearce. Again, how have we got to this stage? But the thing is, a user, when our fans see these signings and still don't understand why Brighton, Brentford, Bournemouth, Palace and Fulham have more points than us for 3 years. They see these signings. We all see them with our own eyes. But yet we still go, oh, we should be fourth. We should be winning this. Why? Why should we be? Our front line right now is one of the worst I've ever seen at Tottenham. But the kids online, oh, if you don't understand Tell, oh, if you don't understand Odegaard, oh, Solanke holds the ball up. What are we doing here? Like, why are we not allowed to call it for what it is? Even with a bad manager, good players will score goals if they're good players. Harry Kane and Son would score loads of goals in this team right now. Right? Easily better. Easily better. Some of it on Bowen, easily better. We agreed. Back to the days when we were very average with people like Everson and Armstrong up top. Yes. The problem is there's too many that think, like, if Poch turns up, people just think it's going to click in 1 year and we're a mess. Poch isn't a miracle worker. We're a mess. He would be coming back to this without Kane, without Son. And no one anywhere near what those boys could do with a football. Yeah, but the problem is, Greg, it's not that we could get another Kane and Son, but we went from Kane and Son, missed out all of that chunk in there and went for players down here. That's the problem. That's the problem, isn't it? We set our sights there and we end up buying there. People can go online, all these tacticos, tell you about these formations, these systems. If your players aren't good enough, none of it matters. None of it matters. We play every 3 or 4 days. We need players. We need depth. We need quality. We need goals. We need assists. We need skill. And again, it's another window so far where we have not bought it. It's another window where we've not bought it. No, I didn't see. I didn't see Dan Potts' show. I don't watch many YouTube shows now, I'm afraid. I don't watch many. Yeah, but the problem is, I don't disagree. But the problem is, this has been 3 years now that it's been crap. There's no plan implemented, mate. There's no system implemented. It's huge drop-offs. It's huge drop-offs. Look, for me, Robbie Keane and Jermaine Defoe weren't at Son and Kane's levels, but look how good they were. You know, Kane and Son, Keane, Defoe, right? Everson, Armstrong, now all the lot we've got. I think this is some of the worst forward players we've had. Now, that doesn't mean that Tell and Odegaard won't turn into good players. I don't know. Who knows when they're that young? But right now, between them in 66 games in the Premier League, they have 6 goals. It is, you can't go on like that. Let me do some super chats. And I'm going to send you over to the Spurs 5. Big up to John Slade, who said Spurs transfer windows are so depressing. Absolutely, John. So depressing. We have replaced Rodrigo Bentancur because he's injured and bought a 19-year-old left back. It's absolutely shocking. Spurs are a mess. Big up to you, my man. Big up to Ant, who said, Billy, respect to you. I was formerly a season ticket holder of 20 years. You need to rebrand to Enoch out. That's the only change. I agree. I'm going to speak to Billy about this when I see him on Sunday. I don't think it should be changed for Tottenham. I think it should be Enoch out. I truly believe that. Big up to you, Ant. Thank you very much. Big up to Jordan. Way too generous to me as always. Said, Frank is getting all the abuse. And of course, he absolutely deserves criticism. But these cowards running the club are keeping him in place to cop all the abuse. I agree with that sentence. Frank deserves criticism, but not all of it. We ain't signing players to help the squad. It's disgusting. Absolutely is disgusting, my man. Jordan, thank you so much for that. You've come back in again. Thank you. Way too generous, Jordan. And said, as great as the Europa League win was, we saw with Wigan when they won the FA Cup, it didn't give the club a winning culture. The culture is set from the top and we are sinking with no leadership. Everything you say is very, very well thought out and structured. Winning the trophy was brilliant from a fan perspective of getting the monkey off our back. But what did we do in the Champions League window? Nothing. Replaced injured players. Standard Tottenham. Big up to you, Jordan. You're way too generous to me. Thank you so much, my man. Big up to Alex Smith. Said, one thing I noticed is the lack of funding given to the manager is poor. And who wants to come to a mid-table team? Alex, the problem we've got, so far, our net spend in this window is what? 12 million? Whatever we paid for, so far, whatever we paid for Sosa is the net spend because Johnson out, Gallagher in was the same price. Mental. Big up to you, Alex. Thank you very much. Tottenham Trev. So it makes me laugh, Savva. Our squad's better than Sunderland, Fulham, Palace, Brighton, Wolves, West Ham, blah, blah, blah. But it's not about them. It's about how poor this squad has become. But that's too much truth. Tottenham, exactly. This is the point. Whenever we play these teams, people talk about them as though, oh, they're shit, they're shit. We're shit. We've been shit for years. I don't know how we're not seeing it. Big up to you, Trev. You're a legend. Thank you very much, my man. Big up to a user who said we would have our work cut out in the championship. Mate, I think if we go down, it's going to be a calamity. Let's hope for your sake, my sake, and everyone's sake, we're not. Big up to you, a user. Thank you very much. Big up to Andy Lester. Said the players have got used to losing. Now it's accepted in the fan base. I have loved this club for over 30 years. Now I can't think of anything him I like. Listen, I agree. We got too many excuses for too many average players. We can't accept where we actually are now. It's bad. It's really bad. Big up to you, my man. Thank you so much, Andy. Really appreciate that. Big up to Ian. Said it's obvious to anyone that the board is not prepared to back Frank. In that case, sack him. Exactly. Sack or back. This isn't rocket science. What are we doing now is the worst of both worlds. Exactly. As I've said for ages, I don't care if anyone wants to sack Frank. But if you sack him and bring in a manager and buy in players. Big up to you, Ian. Really appreciate that. And last but not least, thank you very much. Very generous donation from Coys, whole Spurs. So we are in serious trouble. And unless a miracle happens between now and the end of transfer, we will go down and 75% of players will leave. Enoch will sell because their greed will not be satisfied. Sad times for the diehards. Mate, we've got to hope that we stay up by hook or crook, a bit like in the 90s when we nearly went down but stayed up that year. Mate, I really hope that we stay up because we've got so much debt to service as well. It's like 750 million of debt. But we're a mess. We're an absolute mess. Guys and girls, listen, I will say again, thank you so much for all those generous people. I'm going to send you over. Yeah, there will be, Andy. Sorry, I've had a lot on lately. There will be this week. I promise we'll do a members-only show. I'm going to send you over to the Spurs 5. When you get there, just say Savva Raid or FHTV Raid. And again, if any of you are there Sunday, come and say hello. Probably be in the number 8 pub. Come and say hello. We'll have a drink, have a chat. Met loads of cool people last time. Be really good to see you. As always, much love. And come on, you Spurs.